Gothic cathedrals are often admired for their height, their light, and their technical brilliance. But behind those soaring vaults and stained glass windows lies an intellectual world as structured and luminous as the buildings themselves. In this video, we'll look at Gothic architecture through two thinkers, Thomas Aquinas, whose philosophical synthesis shaped medieval thought, and Erwin Panofsky, who argued that Gothic architecture and scholastic philosophy shared the same underlying logic. Gothic architecture emerged in the mid 12th century out of cultural and intellectual transformations already underway. Compared to the heavier Romanesque style, Gothic buildings are defined by articulation, openness, and an unprecedented desire for clarity, both structurally and symbolically. Aquinas didn't write architectural theory, but his influence on the intellectual climate of the 13th century is unmistakable. For Aquinas, light was more than a physical phenomenon. It was a metaphor for intelligibility. Divine truth, he argued, illuminates the human mind much as light illuminates objects. Gothic architecture embraces this idea. Its vast windows and luminous interiors don't simply brighten the space, they express a worldview in which understanding, spiritual and intellectual, comes through illumination. Aquinas also saw material reality as participating in divine order. This helps explain the Gothic tendency to reveal rather than conceal. Structural logic. The rib vault, the pointed arch, the flying buttress, these are not just engineering solutions, they're part of an aesthetic committed to making order visible. In the 20th century, Erwin Panofsky proposed a now famous argument that Gothic architecture and scholastic philosophy share a common mental habit. Not that philosophers designed cathedrals, but that the same cultural preference for clarity, articulation, and systematic reasoning shaped both. For Panofsky, the Gothic cathedral is organized like a scholastic text. Each part is distinct, identifiable, and logically related to the whole. Structural forces are articulated rather than obscured. The building becomes an intelligible system, a kind of three-dimensional argument. If we place Aquinas and Panofsky in conversation, a compelling picture emerges. The Gothic cathedral as a physical counterpart to the scholastic method. It's systematic, it's structured, and it's guided by a belief that reason can lead the mind toward the divine. The cathedral gathers theology, scripture, cosmology, and civic identity into one coherent whole, much like Aquinas' Summa gathers knowledge into a unified framework. Both works aim for clarity without losing complexity. When we understand how medieval thinkers conceived of light, knowledge, and order, we begin to see Gothic architecture not simply as a style, but as an intellectual achievement. It reflects a culture confident that the world is structured, intelligible, and capable of leading the mind toward truth. Looking at Gothic architecture through the lenses of Aquinas and Panofsky does not give us the final word on these buildings, but it gives us a powerful tool for understanding their ambition. They are not only feats of engineering, they are expressions of a particular way of thinking.